Insurance agents from around the world. Hey guys, this is Scott Howell with the Insurance Guys podcast. Hey, I've got a question for you guys. How many service calls do you get a day? How about a week? How about a month? More importantly, how many of those calls are revenue generating? If not, why are you still taking those calls? The reality is that clients don't want to call their agent for things like documents, billing, service requests. These are considered non-revenue generating activities that can and should be handled with a client experience platform, CXP. The rule of thumb is, can you rely on your technology to fully accomplish the same thing being asked over the phone? If the answer is yes, give the client that option, please. Now is the time to look into a CXP for your agency, a client experience platform. A CXP is a core system at your agency, just like your AMS, just like your CRM, just like your Rater. Having a client experience platform like GloveBox gives you a leg up on the competition and allows you to focus on sales, which we better all be focusing on because nothing else matters, and high-level service. Get a demo today with one of the GloveBox gurus and mention the Insurance Guys podcast to get 20% off your new CXP. Trust me when I say it's time to jump on the GloveBox platform. I know we've done it here in our agency. We love it. We're desperately trying to get all of our clients on the GloveBox platform, guys. Desperately. We want them on there. We want them to go get their ID cards there. We want to reduce the number of times they call the agency, and that frees us up to do more selling. That's all it does. Call today, get a demo, and join GloveBox.
Hey guys, it's Bradley. Every now and then a company comes across my desk that not only blows my mind in what they're able to accomplish, but we implement that particular technology in Portal and it completely changes the way we do business. That's happened a few times with a few different companies. And it happened this year with Ascend. In case you don't know, Ascend saves agent time by simplifying the time-consuming process of collecting payments, premium financing, and carrier payables without the back and forth paperwork, integrated right into your checkout experience where customers can pay how they want. Credit, debit, ACH, own the entire customer experience. It's branded to your agency and offer a modern checkout experience that your customers want. Ascend will also, this is the big one for me, automatically pay the provider, the carrier, the MGA, so you don't have to deal with the payables. It turns agency bill into direct bill. It combines the benefits of agency bill, owning the experience, with the convenience of direct bill. Don't have to worry about collections, payables, so you get the best of both worlds. And the best part is there's no subscription, no fee, and no cost to the agents. Stop wasting time on payments so you can focus on growing your business. Go to useascend.com/insurance guys. I'm telling you guys, this is not just a promotion. This company is going to change the insurance industry. They've already changed Portal. Useascend.com/insurance guys. That's USEASCEND.com/insurance guys. Tell them we sent you. Thanks.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast, powered by GloveBox. God, I love GloveBox. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Saraland, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Great, Scott. How are you today?
Best I have ever been, Bradley. For 2 weeks, I've had the South African wombat virus.
Oh,
Could not stay off the toilet. Tried to go to the doctor. Nobody will see me. Headed to Kansas City tomorrow. Probably will end up in the hospital. Fine.
I have heard that is going around.
It is awful. It is awful. So, yeah, I have felt awful for days and weeks and weeks and weeks. My wife's mad at me because I don't feel good. I got think I just got borderline cussed out by a client right before I called, but before I got on the podcast. That's always a good time. That is what owning a business is, ladies and gentlemen. We get up every day. We put our firefighter outfit on. We've got to show up. We've got to show up. Does not matter what happens. Does not matter what happens. You got to show up.
And you got, like, people don't understand, there's some people whose job stops at 5 o'clock. There's some people whose job never
That's right.
stops. And usually it's the people whose job stops at 5 o'clock that don't understand that the people they're working for's job doesn't stop at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're all the time on. You're on all the time.
Yeah. I think one of the topics I want to cover today, I had a podcast listener kind of bring this up to me the other day. He said, one thing y'all could talk about on the podcast is just being a business owner and how to transition from being in the business, working in the business, doing quotes, basically being a producer, which we all start out at. We all start out as being a producer. You're an agent. And then as you morph throughout your career, you have to transition into working on the business and managing people and leadership and, building the band.
Yep.
You're wanting to build the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, U2. And how do you make that transition? How do you go from being this one guy selling insurance policies and doing everything to 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 1,000 employees? How do you transition to that?
What would be good that we should do with that is we need to almost make that like a 3-part series. And let's say episode 1, we just have you and I, since we've scaled. I don't know how many team members you're up to. I'm at 6. I think you're at 8 or 9. And then we do another one with somebody who went to like 20 or 30. And then we do another person that's at 100. And we talk, because the thing is like at each one of those stages, I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Things change.
Different. Yeah, exactly. It's completely different. We've kind of hit the point to where we're kind of in a weird in-between phase right now where I'm not at the point where I'm dealing with every issue, but I also don't have someone there layered in to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that would be really good. I mean, you could bring on like a Matt and a Molly, like at the 50 employee or, or Paradise or someone like that. I think that's would be super valuable. Rambling, but
oh no, that's no problem. Guys, I got somebody on this podcast today. He's a friend of mine. Got to eat breakfast with him down in San Antonio, Texas at the One City World Tour. And I just appreciate him very much being on this podcast today. He's got some great information and knowledge for you guys. My job every single week is to help you agents any way we can, row the boat just a little closer to the lighthouse. And Lord knows, some days I know I do a halfway decent job at it, and some days I don't. But hopefully today we will. And we can help you agents get better today. So without further ado, let me give him the introduction that he's always deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, he was born, raised, and lives in San Antonio, Texas. He is married to the beautiful Alyssa, and they have one handsome, beautiful son named Isai. Founder of Leal Insurance Services, an independent agency hyper-focused on personal lines and small commercial. He is also the founder of the Dads of San Antonio Facebook group, and we're going to get into that today. And he hosts a podcast by the same name. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you first-time guest on the IGP, Mr. Luis Leal. How are you, Luis?
Oh, man. After that intro, how can I not be great?
I have a question. As an insurance agent in San Antonio, how often do you kick Aaron Robertson's ass? I'm kidding. You don't have to answer that.
We had a conversation on Facebook the other day. Oh gosh, I can't even remember what it was, but it was in the IOA group, which was really
you
fun.
And Aaron?
It was me and Aaron had a fun exchange on some comments on a post that somebody posted on there.
I like giving Aaron a hard time.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, like I think about people I know in my town, and it's like a totally different thing when you think about two people in San Antonio, where it's like several 100,000 people,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Being from a small town, it's like people meet me from the Marine Corps, and they're like, "Hey, did you know so-and-so?" I'm like, yeah, probably not.
I run into that a lot being from Alabama. I think people who've never visited Alabama, think of Alabama as this like backwoods place where not only does everybody know everybody, but they're all related.
Yeah.
And I was in Vegas one time. It's one of the first times I actually traveled far away outside of the Southeast. And I ran into another Auburn fan. We exchanged War Eagles and we were sitting there talking about football. And another person from Nevada came up. I think we were at the Hoover Dam, and he was like, and he knew that we weren't together, but he's like, do you guys know each other? He's from Alabama too. Do you know? I'm like, no, like there's, 400,000 people in Alabama. Like, no, we don't, you know what I mean? But it's almost like they think about it as like, oh, you're together. You run into the same thing when you talk to people in the Northeast, because you can travel through like 8 states in 2 hours versus like, they don't understand like me just hopping over to Scott's office. That's like a 2-day trip, to get there and back.
Yeah, San Antonio is unique in the sense that it's the smallest big city. So it's actually in my tagline, right? So my agency's tagline is big city insurance, small town service, because it is the biggest small town that you'll ever come to. I love it. I don't know everybody in town, but inevitably I will run into somebody somewhere that we go, and my wife makes fun of me for it all the time. But it's like, we're sitting down at a restaurant or something like that. Somebody walks in and I'll look at them and I'll say, man, I know that guy from somewhere. I just can't remember from where. And then I walk up to him and hey, how's it going, man? So good to see you again. And we start up a conversation like we finished a conversation just yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I had a guy walk up to me at church yesterday and he say, aren't you that insurance podcast guy?
There you go.
I'm like, who are you? I was like, oh, I do this. I'm not an insurance industry, but I just know. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. God bless you.
Luis, talk to me a little bit about how you got in the insurance industry. I need to know about it.
Yeah, man. Oh, you know what I was going to tell you, Scott? I don't know if you know this, but Deloreans are going to be made in San Antonio.
Did not know that.
Did you know that?
No.
So Deloreans, they're building a manufacturing plant. Yeah, the electric Deloreans. I was about to say Mandalorian because they're very similar. But the Deloreans, the electric Deloreans are going to be built here in San Antonio.
Cool.
I need somebody that has a DeLorean, whether it's an old one or a new one or whatever, to let me and Scott borrow it. We have to do new headshots, and I want to do it in a DeLorean. We've got to do that.
I know Tony Parker. He's got a DeLorean. I'll give him a call and see if he can.
Who is Tony Parker? Should I know who that is?
Oh, my gosh.
He played basketball. He was the point guard for the San Antonio Spurs for 150 years.
I don't follow
MVP,
basketball, so that's why.
Finals MVP, NBA
Do you really
champion.
know him?
No, I don't.
Really I was about to be really impressed. You were about to take me from I don't know who this guy is to damn, Louis. I'm impressed.
No, I don't know. I wish I knew Tony Parker, but I'll tell you what, man. I know there is a DeLorean group, like a car club, pretty close to San Antonio, if not in San Antonio. So I'll put a couple feelers out there for it.
I'm
surprised
word out.
Aaron hasn't offered.
We'll figure it out. Because I think that's too good for us not to do.
Yeah, and plus their manufacturing plant's going to be here in town, so even more reason for you guys to come out here.
Hopefully their owner doesn't get arrested for dealing coke again. That's what shut him down the first time.
I had no idea. I can't speak to that.
All right, guys, enough bullshitting around. Let's get to some insurance.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, sorry.
Luis, talk to us about how you got in the industry and bring us up to today, brother.
Yeah, so my uncle was a State Farm agent, or is a State Farm agent. And I spent about 9 years in the banking business. Got really tired of the non-relationship building, kind of environment that banking is. And my uncle said, "Hey, why don't you come help me build my agency? After 5 years, I'll make sure to help you get your own agency." And I got really excited about that opportunity. And so I left my $50,000 a year job at a bank and went to go work for my uncle for $24,000 starting salary plus commission.
Been there.
And we kicked butt. We grew his business by 50% in less than 2 years. And then I got tired of making money for him, quite honestly. So
that's a common theme in the insurance industry.
Yeah.
Is almost every agent that I interview, they start out with, I got in it with this guy or the family, and then
illusions of grandeur.
4 years later, I went out on my own. Yeah. What's so funny about that to me is when the people do decide to go out on their own, everybody's that was the principal agent is just like, oh, what?
Yeah,
I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you. Why would you ever leave?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. You're like everybody else. Never mind.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was a little bit of a different dynamic, right? Because we're family, right? So there's that dynamic we kind of had to navigate.
Yeah, you couldn't leave
Everybody
in a
had
blaze
to
of
play
glory.
like kittens. Everybody had to play like kittens.
You still have to go to Thanksgiving.
That's right. So after being there about 2.5 years, we had a conversation and I said, hey, I really want to go out on my own. And I talked about different options with him. I thought about being a franchise agency. And then
This was State Farm?
No. Well, so initially the goal had been to become a State Farm agent. I actually went to management and said, hey, I want to get prepared to open up my own agency. What do I have to do? And the executive that I talked to said, well, it's going to be 7 years before you can have your own agency. And I mean, I was like, I didn't understand it. And so I went back to my uncle. I was like, look, I'm not willing to sit around. Was that
like 2013, 2014?
It was 2010.
Yeah. There was this time, because I worked for a State Farm agent then. There was the time where they were really, in my opinion, like not giving new agencies out. Yeah. Now it's like the opposite of that. It's like, I'm not saying it's not difficult to become one, but it's like you see it. It seems like you see a lot more new agents now than you did back in 2010, 2011, 2012. And
at the time, what they had told me was basically that I had to wait for an agent to retire. And I wasn't willing to move. That was the other thing. I mean, I had built a whole network, right?
Mm-hmm. That used to be the thing. Whatever community you were in, you had to move.
Yep. And so I just decided I wasn't going to stick around and wait for that to happen. So I left his office in May. I left his office May 31st, 2010. And by July 31st, 2010, I had my office up and running.
That's awesome.
And thank you. And
so 2010 is when you opened your insurance agency?
Yep.
Man.
So this year will be 12 years as an agency owner.
Man, that's awesome.
Thank you. And so when I left, I wasn't a huge threat to him. Because I was doing a lot of non-standard business stuff State Farm wasn't going to write anyway. But then I quickly realized that there was no money to be made the way that I wanted to make it in that arena. And I quickly switched my focus to standard and preferred business. And that caused a little bit of animosity because now I was a competitor. Now I had companies who were actively going after State Farm customers. So
everybody starts out. I did the same thing. You start out and you're like, I'm going to write these non-standard customers. They're the most desperate for insurance.
Right.
And it's a crap ton of premium. But then you have one that, I had a guy that wrapped his truck around a telephone pole before his second payment came out of his account. And then you realize, like, wait a minute, like these are canceling and that sort of thing. You're like, nope, we're going back over here.
Yeah, he like I said, at first I wasn't a competitor, but then, when I started writing a lot of, real quickly about the non-standard stuff too, in Texas, we can charge agency fees for that business. Mm-hmm. And so it can be profitable. Like if you have a system set up for it and you are, you're actively pursuing that business, how to work that book, it can be very, very profitable for someone. But I wasn't comfortable with that. It's just me personally. I wasn't comfortable with that.
Well, what I think happens too is when you're at a captive, regardless of the captive, you feel like there's this weird thing of like, because you can't write everybody, it makes you want to write everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the girl that doesn't like the guy until he gets a girlfriend.
That's right.
Gets married. It's kind of that thing. So like when you go from that, just pull the ripcord of completely captive to completely independent, it's like, we're going to write everybody.
Right.
When really that's like the last thing that you should do.
Right. Yep. And so, that's ultimately what happened was that I started off trying to do everything and anything. I mean, I was doing life insurance. I was doing health insurance, non-standard, standard, preferred business. Hell, at one point we were even selling, back then there was a wireless provider called Clear. And we were even selling that in my office just because we wanted to try and get as much business as we could in the door. And eventually I figured out that really wasn't a profitable way of doing business either. And so we started honing down kind of our niche markets and the business that we wanted to go after. And we ended up getting rid of all of our health insurance appointments. We got rid of all of our life insurance appointments. We got rid of that Clear service and have now been focusing on just personal lines and small commercial. And we've been doing that for a few years now. And it's been exciting for us. We actually built a program for subcontractors of a pretty big home builder here in Texas, where we would insure all of their subcontractors. Mm. And at one point, they had about 400 contractors statewide. And eventually I got to a point where I was insuring a little over half of them.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you still doing that, or is that something you've moved away from?
Well, COVID kind of had a say in that, and a lot of those contractors went under. The problem with that sort of market is that a lot of these guys are all really worker bees. They don't have a business owner mindset.
Right.
And so when COVID hit, they weren't prepared for it, and they all had to, go find jobs with other contractors.
That's awesome. Or that's not awesome, but like the fact that you guys put that together is awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, we streamline the entire process. So think about this. We took an ENS product and streamlined the process. Now, when you think of ENS, think of accord form. So you've got at least 8 pages of an accord form. You've got usually a supplemental application that's somewhere between 2 and 4 pages. You've got a PFA agreement that's, can be 2 to 4 pages long. You've got all of these, different aspects of the application process. I streamlined it down to a 2-page application and a PFA agreement.
Wow. How'd you do that?
I was able to quote, bind, and issue right then and there when I had the customer in front of me.
Did you work with the carrier or the MGA to put it together? Okay.
Yeah. Worked with an MGA. I had a great underwriting partner who advocated for us and was able to put together this program with a carrier. And so they gave me pricing up front, fees and all of that. I had a little table. Cool. And so when I would sit in front of the contractor, they were able to tell me, what they were doing, what their sales were, payroll, all that stuff. And I was able to give them a quote. If they decided to move forward with it, would sign all the paperwork, have it issued within an hour or so.
And it gives you such a competitive advantage.
Yep.
Especially with a class like contractors, because 99% of other agencies that they go to, if they don't have a preferred market that's going to take it, it's going to be a 2 to 3 day turnaround. I think I may have told this on the podcast. We mystery shopped a competitor of mine and we asked for an openly quote, and they said, "Okay, we'll call you back tomorrow." I'm like, why in the fresh hell are you telling somebody they're going to have to sleep one night before they get an openly quote?
Yeah.
It gives you such a like speed to quote. Like that shouldn't be the only thing. That should not be your only value add.
Right.
But speed to quote, I would love to see the percentage close ratio goes up based on is correlated to time to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like, it's fascinating to me because like one of the things that we do, and this is like free tip for everybody that's like not already doing this, but like when we have contractors, and we don't have many contractors, but when we have contractors that hire subs, we tell them part of our onboarding is, hey, when you get certificates from your subs, send it to us and we will not only keep it on file for audit and that sort of thing, we'll tell you if it's adequate or not. That's a free lead.
Yep.
If I see they have Next and I know Next has these 185,000 exclusions for painters, I can call them and say, hey, or like my favorite one is the, 15 feet thing. And they're like, oh, we're doing tree removal, like that whole thing. Like those are free leads,
Yeah. Yeah. We do that to this day. We will tell our
of course you do, because you're smart. But there's people that don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great way to get additional. But the thing is also you have to have someone who's willing to pick up the phone and call those other subcontractors. But yeah, we have we still have the program in place, just not as robust as it was when we first started a couple years ago.
You got to build it back up.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're trying to duplicate that program with other builders. And we've gotten other technology since we started the first program that is going to help us streamline the process even more. I know you guys talk about it all the time, but Ascend just came on board with us a few weeks ago.
So I cannot tell you the high hopes I have for Ascend to literally change the industry. Like, it's gonna be great.
I'm excited about it. I mean, I've been following what they're doing and what you guys have been talking about with them. So I got excited and connected with them. And quite honestly, had my premium finance company, had they not completely blundered like 5 accounts in the past 3 weeks, I wouldn't have had a conversation with Ascend. But because they royally screwed up and caused additional work for our agency, we had no choice and ended up calling Ascend. And they got us taken care of within a day.
That's amazing. Well, it's one of those things too, man. Like anytime you can simplify and you can combine two vendors or two technologies, it's just there's all upside from there. You know what I mean? Especially from the customer experience standpoint. And I'm on their advisory council. So I'm really bullish on like, I'm going to have my hands on this thing, like the direction of which way it goes. So if you're listening and you're using Ascend and you're like, hey, it'd be great if we had this, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to run that up the flagpole.
Yeah. Yeah. We're excited about adding new technology that's going to help us streamline that process even better.
Well, hello there. Guys, excuse me for interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast, but I'm here today to get you out of aggregator and cluster jail. This may be the most important message I've ever delivered on the Insurance Guys podcast. Guys, are you a member of a cluster or an aggregator? Does your contract have exit fees, termination payments, buyback provisions? It's time to get your freedom back and do what we did here at I Protect Insurance. Join the AC, the future of aggregators in our industry. Best decision we've ever made, guys. Best decision we've ever made. No entry fees, small $200 a month membership fee, over 50 plus carriers for direct appointments. And by the way, new ones coming on board each and every month. You keep 100% of your commissions, profit sharing every year. Guys, we have made in the last 2 years, each year, our agency has made over $100,000 in profit sharing. Here's the best part, guys. And this is the part I'm the most passionate about. No termination or exit fees. You give the AC 60 days notice and you're free. You go get direct appointments wherever you want. There's no buyback provisions, no exit clauses. Guys, if you're a member of another aggregator and you have termination fees, buyback provisions, exit clauses, every single policy you write, you're digging that hole just a little bit deeper. And one day you're not going to be able to get out of it. It's going to be too much. You're going to be taking out a second mortgage on your home to try to get out of a cluster group. Unbelievable. Guys, go to acfree.org. That's acfree.org and register. Find out why over 650 agencies and $3 billion in premium have chosen the AC. And guys, here's the best part. But wait, there's more. Mention the Insurance Guys podcast when you talk to these guys, and you get 6 months. That's 6 months of no membership fee just by mentioning the Insurance Guys podcast. Go today, www.acfree.org, and let me help you get your freedom back. Have a great day. Luis, my job here every week is to help these agents any way I can. You've been doing this for a while now. We're in 2022. You've been to the One City World Tour. You're a member of the UPP, I believe. Is that correct? Am I right about that?
I don't know what UPP is, but sure, I'll join.
Oh, you don't? You don't know what it is?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must be thinking about somebody else. I apologize.
That's okay.
But you've learned a lot over the course of, you've been in the industry a while.
Yeah.
What are some areas where you feel like you could improve your agency right now? What are some things you feel like you could do better?
Man, how much time we got?
As long as you want, brother.
I could go on forever. One of the things that I think we're really strong in, and this is a setup to where I think we're lacking, right? So one of the things that I think that I'm really, one of the areas that I'm really strong in is figuring out ways to be efficient. But that causes a problem because you over efficient your office where it actually impacts the customer. You end up creating bigger gap between the agency and the customer. You
turn into Safe Lot.
There you go. Yeah, I remember that.
Safe Lot's not gotten to where you can't even talk to a human being. You have to. I mean, they still use them month ago. They've still got a good service, but they've walled off the customer.
Right.
Really,
They have
either-
cornered the market so much that they can probably get away with that.
probably.
Because not
Probably.
only is it a really good service, but they also have brand. Like, I can't name any competitors to Safelite that aren't local. You know what I
Correct.
mean? There's no national.
You're right.
Yeah, and
so
every
they
carrier is
they
using
can
them.
flip the middle finger and say, we're going to do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the cell phone companies, you know, like
Which-
there's three, you know, like.
Which is fine in our industry relative to being an insurance agent,
And I'm not praising
long-
it. I'm not praising. I'm just
as-
saying it's.
as long as you don't have people that you want to go after that want that local.
Yeah.
Somebody picks up the phone, because those people aren't going to be around very long.
Yeah. Yep. So we onboarded with GloveBox at the end of 2021. And in conversations with GloveBox, and I love GloveBox, I love their product, I'm a huge fan. But one of the conversations that we had with them early on, I discovered, I think it was Andy that said this, and this is the first time I'm publicly giving him credit for saying this, but because I've said this on a couple of other podcasts. But Andy told me, think of GloveBox as technology when you need it, human when you want it.
Right.
And so I kind of took that and I was like, man, that is an awesome perspective to have. And so we started implementing GloveBox, and we started implementing, a whole bunch of automation with our onboarding process, with our service process, and all this other kind of stuff. And I got a phone call that really made me see the impact that it was having to our customers. And the customer called and said, "Hey, I'm getting a bunch of spam emails from you." And I said, "Really?" And I went and looked at the automation. He had gotten like 3 emails from us. And he said, "I've already answered this same question that you're asking in the 3 emails one time. Why do I keep getting this same process or this same question?" And the technology was broken. But no one in my office saw that, because we were relying so much on the technology to do our job for us.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more relative to, you have to meet the customer where they want to be met.
Right.
Okay. We all know the reason why you pull up to a Walmart or a Target parking lot. I mean, there's a different car in every space, right? Some
Sure.
people like red cars. Some people like white cars. Some people like trucks. Some people like, and I think we as insurance agents have to meet customers. And this is something Mike Stromso talks a lot about, meet them where they want to be met. And that's why my agency, you call our office, somebody's going to answer the phone. We're not on the phone tree.
Right.
You want to go get your ID cards online? By all means, go to GloveBox and go grab them. If you want, and everywhere in between, text messaging, emailing, I think, and Bradley and I have always kind of both held true to this, is that blend of modern technology and still having that human element and feel to your agency.
Yeah. What you have to do is you have to know who your target prospect is, your target client, ideal client, and you have to reverse engineer how do they want to communicate. And it may be you ask them, the first couple of years of the portal text onboarding, we ask people what their preferred method of communication is. I think we had 2 people in 2 years say anything other than text message.
Right.
Now you have to consider the fact that we are texting them when they're saying that, but still. And I'm not exaggerating. That's true.
Yeah.
But you have to know who your ideal client is, and you have to have as many ways for them to do business with you that's within their ideal.
For sure.
If my ideal customer wants to come in and sit down and drink a Diet Coke and give me a side hug on the way out every day, excuse me, if the person I'm writing wants to do that, but that's not how I want them to do business, then there's a problem there.
Right.
It has to be those 2 things. People tend to only do one or the other. They tend to want to write everybody, but then bitch that they're not doing the way these things, or they want to force it down their customers' throats. It's like, hey, you have to do it this way.
Right.
But no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do this. You know what I mean? Like my lady that cleans my office here, awesome person, great business owner. She does not have where I can pay her electronically. And it drives me up the wall. Guess what? I forget to pay every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
She also will not communicate via text message, has to call me. If I text her a question, she's going to immediately call me. I don't want to communicate with you that way,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm unhappy. Like the experience isn't great. I'm not gonna stop using her, but like you have to like level with your customers,
Here's where I think I went wrong. So I implemented this new technology with the idea that 100% of my new customers, my ideal customer, was going to be happy with it. What I did not take into consideration was the fact that I was going to implement this new technology with a bunch of old customers that I had who were so used to doing business with me, a certain way.
Yeah.
And so, we've kind of had to backtrack that a little bit and figure out, how to work through that. So that's kind of the phase that we're in right now is trying to figure out sort of a delicate balance between.
Can I give an example?
Yeah, I'd love that.
So I gave a keynote 3 weeks ago to the Big Eye of Arkansas, and the keynote was how to set up your agency for high sales and low service. And in that, I said, hey, all you guys that have existing agencies that are operated in a very high touch, high paper, kill treeing, low, high service kind of way.
Yeah.
I have tremendous sympathy for you because everything I'm talking about is going to be like 150 times harder than it's going to be 150 times harder than it would be if you're doing it from scratch, brand new or a newer agency, but it can still be done. And one example I gave when I was at Alpha, we were freaking cash payments. There was some days we took a lot of money in cash every single day, cash check. And oh, by the way, I might pay credit card this. Like it was like as high touch as you can get. The only thing we had going for us is it was one carrier, so it wasn't all over the place. And so I put a plan in. I did similar to what you did, Luis, with the carrier on the ENS stuff. I sat down with the carrier and I said, the process to take someone from monthly cash pay bill by mail to EFT is way too complex. Let's simplify that. And I basically got it approved to where the client could sign a 1-page document and send a voided check in. And that, believe it or not, it was more complex than that. It was like all like 3 or 4 page form, and it was just real ridiculous. So we had that. I basically simplified it. So it was like, hey, 1-page form, emailed in, we're on EFT the next month. Well, we hit it right when there was a rate increase. So every customer was coming in and bitching about their bill. I said, hey, I can save you $36 right now because there was a $3 fee on every monthly bill every single month. So we tell the customer, they come in fussing about their bill, hey, I can save you $36 right now, right off the bat. Just like the other day, I had a lady who was a trucking company that I knew we could get her a lower APR if we financed her with a STEM than who she was financed with. And I said, well, I know I can save you 6% off the top right now. So I know I can save you $36. When you have somebody that's fussing about a $50 a month bill, $36 means a lot to them. And so that's how we would get people to sign up for EFT. You can pick the day of the month because you're not signing up for a new plan right now. You can pick the day of the month that the bill comes out. So you're in control of that, and we'll set you up on EFT. So that you have to do stuff like that. You just have to be real proactive with it.
So to that point, I'm lucky. I'm very blessed that I'm Generation X.
You're kind of both, right? In that,
I'm stuck in the middle. I can see, I can see where older people, my parents' age, my parents are both in their early to mid 70s, and how older people, they like to do things the way they like to do them. But I can see where a younger independent agent that maybe set their agency up some other way might have some friction there with older people because they're like, oh my gosh, this son of a bitch wants to bring a check to my office. What in the hell is going? It's nice to be in that Generation X between Boomer and Millennial, and you can kind of see both sides of it. And I think, I think it's hard to set up all of your stuff where you're giving everybody all those different options. And I think I can't remember. I think it was you, Bradley, that said, understanding your demographic, your target market too, who the majority of your clients are. I think a lot of times we get upset with people, and then after the fact, we realize, well, they weren't really our target client either.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Almost every single person that has a bad customer experience at Portal, if we wire work it around and we like go back to the root of the problem, it's like, oh, we should not have written that customer to begin with. I'll never forget, we had a customer that was fighting mad, pissed off that he had to drive from West Louisiana to Saraland, Alabama to sign a form, but would refuse to use e-signature.
Right.
And I'm like, that sounds like it might be his problem, guys, but it's our problem. We should have never written that guy.
Right.
He's not going to use e-signature. We should not have written it. Guess what he was, Luis? He was a non-standard auto that we wrote within our first couple of months in business. Guess who wrote? I wrote him, by the way. Like, so I'm not like pointing fingers at my people, you know. But it's, and then I think like Safeco did a study on like selling to millennials and stuff, and I think it was millennials. It may have been Gen Z, but I'm pretty sure it was millennials.
Yeah, no, it was millennials.
And the thing they found is millennials actually kind of have a blend of the two. They want you to tell them what to do. They don't want you to. They don't want to have to decide what to do.
Right.
But then you better have the apps and the texting and the convenient stuff as well to pair with that. So tell me what to do on the front end and make it really easy for me to do business with you. That's how you sell to millennials.
Yep.
Right. And you just gave the GloveBox ad right there millennials are their perfect target, right?
GloveBoxApp.com/insurance guys.
Because you can sell them on the front end. They've got the personal insurance agent relationship. They've got your number if they need it. Oh, by the way, on the back end, you can just go to glovebox.com or download the app on the Play Store or Apple Store and get your ID cards and do all that if you'd like to do. And I think that's that happy marriage between the two of those. Mm-hmm. The one that you see less and less every year, and this is just part of it, guys, is the older clients. See, back in the day, you'd have some of those people that would stop by your office and drink coffee with you for 45 minutes. And they just wanted to talk. And, oh, by the way, at the very end, here's my check for my insurance this month.
Yeah.
I remember when I started in the insurance business, there were a lot of independent and captive agents that just about every time the door closed, it was opening up with somebody else coming in to make a payment.
Well, it's like these stupid calendars that, it's like that was the thing in South Alabama is you went to your insurance agent's office and bought a calendar. Right. Well, then I took over a book and other young people take over a book of business.
Mm-hmm. Nobody sends out calendars anymore.
Calendars, and the customers are canceling their freaking insurance over this $1.50 calendar that, oh, by the way, you have on this device. Even if you have, I'm holding my cell phone up. Even if you have the dumbest of dumb non-smartphone, there is a calendar on it. But I digress.
When I took over that book over in Athens back in 2013, I bet you I had 10 people a day walk in my office to make a payment.
And do y'all have any calendar? Do y'all have any calendars?
Around usually the calendar stuff, my experience anyway, was around Christmas time, somewhere in that range, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They'd buy like 1,000 calendars and hand them out, you know.
Here's how you do it, guys. If you want to go from taking cash payments to not taking any payments at all, is you immediately stop taking cash for new business.
Yeah.
No more cash for new business, no matter how big the deal. No more cash for new business. Okay. If that breaks the deal, you should not have written that client anyway.
Right.
Okay. We do that. We've never lost a client over that. Okay. So then what you do, it's kind of like if there's a road that I drive every 2 weeks to go pick my daughter up, and there's a stop sign on this road. It's a road that intersects with another road, and the main road that has the stop sign on it has a 65-mile-per-hour speed limit. The road that intersects with it has a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now, the stop sign shouldn't be right here. It should be right here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they moved the stop sign. But 2 months before they moved the stop sign, they put a big sign up that said, this stop sign is going away and it's going over here, letting everybody know. Yep, that's what you do. You set a hard date. So right now, it is April 25th. I'm setting a date of July 1st. On July 1st, we are no longer taking cash payments for other customers. And you tell every single cash payment customer, we are no longer taking cash payments. Yeah, you're going to have some people that say they're going to shop. Most of them are full of crap, but you are going to have some that are going to actually do it. Do you want to do this or not? Yep. Okay. You don't make exceptions. July the 1st, we are no longer taking cash payments. Okay. Then after July 1st, September 1st, we are no longer taking check payments. That's how you do it. You slowly phase them out like that. And then it becomes EFT, pay in full, or sorry, I can refer you down the street. That's how you have to do it. You don't spring it on them. You give them enough time. You give them enough a heads up. Go ahead and show your hand. Let me add in there. Sorry. I forgot one important step.
Go ahead.
If you're giving people change, you stop change first.
Right.
So June 1st is actually, we're no longer giving change back. You have to have the exact amount. If you have a little bit more, we can apply it to your account, but we're no longer giving change.
Right.
Then you go June, July, August 1st, we're doing no cash. October 1st, we're doing that's the way you do it, in my opinion.
But Bradley, if I take credit cards, I'm going to have to pay a fee for taking credit cards.
No, you don't use a send. The client pays the
Nice
fee.
setup.
I set you up.
Thank
for that.
you.
There you go.
Whoosh, slam dunk, alley oop, Luis to Bradley.
So
Insurance guys
let's
win.
talk. Let's talk for just a minute, Luis. Where are you?
We hadn't
at
even
now?
mentioned Dads of San Antonio.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to talk about Dads of San Antonio for a second. I think that's a brilliant. There's a lot of things there. I think it's a great thing that you did. I want to learn more about it too. But how did this come about? Where you just sitting there one day and you thought, I need to create this space for all these dads in San Antonio to jump on and be able to talk to one another.
Yeah, man. So it was actually a conversation with one of my lender referral partners. So I was having lunch with a referral partner of mine, and I said, just in conversation, how are you getting new business? What's your method? And she says, oh, I've been getting a lot of business from this Facebook group that I started. And I said, oh, cool. What is the Facebook group? And she said, it's a mom's group. And I said, so what kind of things do you guys talk about in there? And she says, oh, well, it's I think it's called like Working Moms something or other. And it's just, they commiserate over challenges and things like that they have to deal with as a working mom. And, they kind of do theme days. So like on Tuesday or on Monday, it's, motivational Monday, the kind of normal stuff that you would see in a group. And so she said, you should join a dad's group. And so I was like, I don't even know that there is one. And so I literally pulled out my phone right there at lunch and I searched on Facebook for dads in San Antonio and nothing came up. And so I was like, what a great idea. Let's start this group. And so the more I thought about it, the more I got excited about it because so I grew up without a father. And when we found out we were pregnant, I was scared. I was scared shitless. And, I didn't want the same experience for my son that I had with my father. And so also when I would ask friends and things like that for advice, a lot of, guys that had kids before I did had some really great advice. And I thought, why not create an environment where we can kind of put all of those things together, right? Where we can build community, where we can support each other, where we can ask for advice, be a little bit vulnerable with each other, as one can be online, right? Because there's still that aspect to it. And so I created the group. And at first, for like the first year, it was just me and a bunch of my friends. And then I started to do kind of like a campaign to get more members in the group. And I started to ask what would incentivize people to join the group. And so we did this giveaway where we gave away these t-shirts, stickers, and some other really cool stuff that had a really nice logo on it for people that would invite other dads and their friends and stuff like that to join the group. And so we started the group about 2 years ago. We now have about 1,900 guys in the group. And it's been awesome, man. It's a lot of work being an admin for a group that size, but it's really great to see the rapport that's being built, the relationships that are being built by a lot of the dads in our area.
Being the admin of a Facebook group is way more work than people think it is.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I couldn't do it.
I have a group now that's a local business owner group that was popping for a few years when I had a couple partners in it. And then they ended up changing careers to where being an admin of that group no longer benefited them. So they basically gave me the group, but I just can't bring myself. I could start it back up and probably get some business from it. I've even attempted to give it to a few team members, but I can't, like, the work it would take to get it and to constantly be in front of people. And I've had offers to buy it. I had somebody reach out wanting to buy it, but the amount I wanted, the amount he wanted were too far apart. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but if it is for you and there's some people that it is for, like a Michael McCormick, like you were born to run a Facebook group, your attitude, temperament, that sort of thing. Like there's certain people that are born for it. it really, like, you need to do it because it could benefit your business immensely. Now, there's also the aspect of the fact that the train is sailed. You know, I see some of these carriers and tech companies and insurance now trying to create their insurance Facebook group. I'm like, all you're doing is flooding people's feeds. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that community, not the platform community, but community is the next iteration of social media. And I think some of this NFT thing is kind of playing into that. And I think because people are like, the big part of in a whole NFT thing is you get access to a community.
Right.
I think it's going to happen on Discord and on Slack and stuff like that versus a Facebook group. But because so much of the whole crypto community is anonymous, but I think that's kind of the next thing. I don't know if Facebook groups is going to be where it's at.
Hey, Bradley.
Hey, Scott.
Before we get off this podcast, I've had something I've been wanting to ask you about, and it kind of goes along with what we're talking right now.
Okay.
You know, when we started this podcast back in late 2017, one of the big bullish things that we talked a lot about was Facebook advertising. And since that time, you know, a lot of things have changed relative to Facebook advertising. Is that still a thing?
Absolutely.
Relative to insurance agents advertising like paid ads on Facebook, or is that ship sailed?
No, I think it's absolutely still a thing. You can absolutely still do it. Targeting at a niche level has gotten a lot more difficult. You know, Zuckerberg testified before Congress, and all of a sudden they had to get really tight with the things they let you target and eliminate a lot of things, most of which benefited insurance agents. Whereas you have other platforms out here like YouTube, OTT ads, geofencing, Snapchat, and TikTok that are like way more aggressive and giving way more data than Facebook ever did. But no, I think it's very much still a thing. You just can't target as niche as you used to could. I stopped running ads about 2 years ago when I'm just going to say it. We got to the point to where we were writing more business than we could handle. And I was like, I don't need to be spending $2,500 a month on Facebook ads to generate leads. And we have enough leads coming in organically.
Right.
You know? But no, it's still a thing.
I just finished a pilot with one of our carriers that ran Facebook ads for us. And I'll tell you my experience in that compared to a couple of years ago is you get fewer and fewer high intent buyers on Facebook as opposed to other platforms. My experience anyway.
My strategy with Facebook app, there's two ways to generate leads. There's two types of leads. There's high intent leads and low intent leads. That's it. Most people try to generate high intent leads. The people that are reaching out are saying, I want a quote. Well, those are going to be not only few and far in between, they're going to cost you a lot more. My strategy was and always is to generate as many freaking leads as I possibly can. I actually wanted the low intent leads. And what we would do is we would turn either turn the low intent leads into high intent leads through whether it be drip campaigns, automations, offers, whatever, or B, the beautiful thing about our product, everybody has to buy it. So as long as my targeting is on point, I'm going after the right person, eventually that person is going to be a prospect.
Yeah, it'll hit.
We take that person and we stay in front of them. I have 5 spreadsheets pulled up on my computer right now of literally like almost 100,000 leads that we generated because we're getting ready to remarket to them. Because now I have the staff to handle extra leads. So that's kind of the way that I would approach it. And you can very much still do that. And so that's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah. The market just got flooded. So Facebook has what they call an ad inventory. Okay. And it was almost a good thing that they kind of scaled it back a little bit. They have what they call an ad inventory, meaning Louise's timeline, Scott's timeline, my timeline. There's only so many ads that we're going to see.
Right.
You can't have every post be an ad. So there's only so much inventory. So what happens when you have everybody teaching Facebook ads and everybody trying to run Facebook ads, and even for lack of a better term, the dumbest of dumbest marketers can figure out how to boost a post or run an ad on Ads Manager, you flood the market. So what that leads to is they can't add more ads. So it leads to increased cost. So it's almost good that some of these other platforms started having ad to kind of get people focused somewhere else. You know what I mean? But anyway, and I'm going to throw a plug out there. Like if you want to learn Facebook ads for insurance, the agency, CAC, Michael McCormick and Taylor Dobby, like
Collective Agency Council.
Collective Agency Council. Yeah. They're going to kill me for forgetting the name, but I've had a long day. There's no better place to learn them. And that's not the only thing you learn there. So that's where I learned everything I just went through. That's where I learned it.
Yeah. And a lot of the Facebook group strategy. Yep. I learned it from CAC. So that helped me to grow the group, and then also find leads in the group as well. So I don't allow for random, I mean, because we have a ton of realtors in the group. We have a ton of, other salespeople, car salesmen. I mean, you name it, they're all in the group. And so we don't allow for everybody to post every single day about their product or service. We have certain days that, are okay to post those things. It kind of lessens the sort of spamminess of the group, if you will. But it also underlines the emphasis on the importance that we put on those businesses that we're supporting. And so it's been great for the agency. And a lot of guys, when they have insurance questions, they'll reach out to me privately, or when somebody says, "Hey, I'm looking for, auto insurance or home insurance," I'll get I won't even say anything. I'll just get tagged in the comments. "Hey, you need to talk to Luis. You need to talk to Luis. You need to talk to Luis." And so yeah, it's definitely helped the agency grow. It's brand awareness for us. And then we even started.
And you don't let other insurance agents in there, do you?
I do. Aaron actually is a part of the group. Yeah, he's a part of the group. But what I do is I limit their activity.
There you go.
Well,
not a bad idea with Aaron. Not a bad idea.
That group I mentioned that I have, I don't let other insurance agents in there, and I accidentally let one in 2 years of doing it, and I'm now married to her.
Oh, there you go.
But and it was legitimately accidentally let her in.
By the way, Aaron, I'm just kidding. Don't get your feelings hurt. I'm just joking.
We're both gonna get phone calls on that one.
I'm telling you.
One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you guys if you're running a Facebook group is be super particular who you let in, like the part of where you're hitting the button and proving people to go in. If you want the group to be a crap show, go ahead and approve everybody. But if you want it to be a good, solid group, vet each person. Yeah, my group that I used to run, you had to be local, you had to be a business owner, and it helped you tremendously if we had mutual friends and or you were friends with the right people. Just the way it is. And we had some vetting questions because they now, towards the end of us running the group, they let us add questions. It was like, where's your business located? Where are you located? What do you hope to get out of this? Yep. And that gets a lot of people kicked out, but, or not kicked out, but not approved. And so that's a big one. That is a big one. Of the approval process is super important.
For sure.
Guys, I got to run. Full-time Uber driver here. Part-time insurance agent, full-time Uber driver for a 15-year-old.
You just got to call. Oh, yeah, you got to go do that.
Guys, as I end every episode, Luis, thank you for being here today, brother. It means a lot you'd come on the show with us today.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, as I end every episode, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today and go out into the big bad world. Build relationships, create Facebook message boards for people to get on. Go be the mayor of your village. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 times more. You want to know how to get a bunch of business in the insurance industry? Just act every single day like you're running for the school board or city council. Meet people, greet people, plant the seed. You will end up one day writing a bunch of business, but you got to get out there and you got to meet people. Go make money for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents that are struggling out there. Go make money for them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent, and write good business for the companies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Make sure you have like some chocolates and some bottled water for your passenger.
There you go. There you go. Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at scott@iprotectinsurance.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to portalinsurance.com or email him at bradley@portalinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. We thank you so much for listening to our show and being a part of our family. And we look forward to seeing you again next week on the next episode of the Insurance Guys podcast. Take care.